Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Today let's look at the new system-wide translation feature for macOS Monterey. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to macmost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. A great new feature of macOS Monterey is system-wide translation. This allows you to select text in a lot of different apps and then have it translated right there. So for instance, say you're interested in a news article but you can't read the language that the article is in. You can use this feature right in Safari to get a quick translation. So let's translate this headline here. I'm just going to select the text. Now you can control click, right click on a mouse, or two-finger click on a trackpad to bring up the context menu, and one of the items you'll have here is translate. Select that and you get this special window. And this window has a couple parts to it. At the top it has the original text and it tries to guess the language it's in. If it guesses wrong, you could always click here and change to another language. Then you can also click here and have the text spoken to you.
Astrónomos pueden haber descubierto el primer planeta fuera de nuestra galaxia.
Then the next part will show you the translation. It's going to default to your language, but you could also change that to another one. And you'll see the translation right here and have that spoken to you as well.
Astronomers may have discovered the first planet outside our galaxy.
Then you've got additional buttons at the bottom. Now since this is static text, it's on a web page, all we have here is copy translation. So I can click that and it will copy it to the buffer and I can paste it somewhere else. Now it can work for several paragraphs of text or even an entire article. So I can select, for instance, the first few paragraphs here, bring up the context menu, and then translate. And you can see I get the translation for both paragraphs right here. And here's it working in another language and you'll see how it instantly figures out the language that this article is in. You can see it correctly guesses it's French and translates it to English. Now it works in other apps as well. Of course you're going to find most Apple apps support this, but third-party apps have to update to add this in. So your favorite app may or may not support it. Here I am in Pages and I can select this text here, bring up the context menu, and get a translation. Now when I do that, since this is editable text, in addition to copy translation, I also have replace with translation. If I click that, it simply puts the translated text in place of the original. It'll also work in apps like Keynote, Numbers, TextEdit, but third-party apps, as I said, have to be updated. So for instance, it won't work right now in Chrome. And if you're interested into whether or not it works in something like Microsoft Word, it doesn't. Microsoft Word actually has its own built-in translation feature. So who knows whether or not Microsoft will actually support it. Of course, anywhere you can copy text, you can always copy, say, to a TextEdit document and use it there. Another place it works, of course, is Mail. So if I get an email that's in another language, which happens to me fairly often, I can select the text in the message, bring up the context menu, and get the translation for it. And I can use it in my responses too. I can select the text in here, bring up the context menu, translate it. It'll even guess based on the context that I probably want to translate it to Spanish, and then I can replace with translation like that. Now there are some options. If you look in the languages here, you'll see Manage Languages. And that will take you to System Preferences. And there's a button now for Translation Languages. Click that and you'll see a list of the languages with download buttons next to them. You can choose to download the language so it can work offline. Now Apple warns that there's a difference between online and offline translation, and online is always going to be a little bit better. But if you have to do some work where you have spotty Wi-Fi or no Wi-Fi at all, then you can certainly download a language and use it offline. Another thing I should point out is Safari already has a built-in web page translator. That was added in Big Sur. So you can already click on the button up here and then translate web page and translate the entire page. So if you're reading an article online and you want to translate more than just a little bit of it, it's probably still your best bet to use that. I'm already getting a lot of use out of this. For months now I've had the beta of Monterey installed on one Mac, and if I'm on the other Mac I always seem to run into a situation where I need something translated or somebody sends me a message and I need to translate that, and I switch to the other Mac to do it. So this is definitely going to save me some time. I no longer have to go to Google Translate and copy and paste the text in to get a translation. And I think if you communicate with somebody and you're not very strong at speaking or writing their language, it's probably better to communicate very clearly in your own language and have something like this translate it for you than to try using your limited vocabulary in the other language in writing the text. And this also works in combination with live text, another new feature of macOS Monterey. So here in the Photos app, or it could be in Preview, or even viewing an image in Safari, you can select some text and then you can control click on it, bring up Translate, and it will translate the text for you. Here's another example. Now this is starting with a limited set of 11 languages. But in the past Apple has started with just a select few languages with features like this, and then they've added more in the months and years to come. I know that this feature is also available in iOS 15 and iPad OS 15. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.